Welcome to Beaver Branch Disc Golf Adventures. I am Brian Morris, PDGA 16791, a member of Team Trilogy and Trilogy Talk Team. Today, my brother Scott and I and my dad are all going to take on the Beaver Branch Disc Golf Course Blue layout. This is pretty much a deuce or die layout. And there's some good shots here. We don't play to the best of our abilities, but let's get it started. Hole number 1 is 381 feet. Scott here, I believe, throwing a Sorcerer, gets a little bit turned over. And I'm throwing a Ballista Pro. My shot ended up about pin deep to the right. We had a little recording malfunction there. Scooter with his pitch up. That's where my Ballista Pro landed. A little bid. Laid up. Scooter shooting it inside the circle putt here. Little camera jitters. He gets it back. Knocks it down. Hole 2 is 252 feet. I'm throwing a VIP Gatekeeper, and I let it go a little bit early. Now, Scott here is either throwing his Opto Fuse or his Warship. I'm not sure which one. Taking a stab at it. Scooter tying it up and knocking down his par. Hole 3 is 220 feet. I'm throwing a retro Keystone here. Just making sure I get it over and give it a little bit of a run. Scott's going to be throwing his Biofusion Felon. Giving a little flick chip shot. It skips forward. And he is bullseyed. On to hole number 4. This is where things tighten up here. I threw a little bit of a worm burner. I do look for a little bit of a skip shot on that hole. I was throwing a VIP Gatekeeper there. Scott throwing, I believe, his Fuse on this hole. And he gets a little early. I'm chipping out with a Soft Harp to get inside the circle. And Scott has a similar type throw, and he is in the bullseye. I was a little bit short, but able to knock it down.
Splash.
And we clear out that hole. Hole 5 is 213 feet, and it probably is one of the signature shots on the property. You go across a pond to a nice green. Scott's throwing a Prime EMAC Truth here, and he got over on it just a little bit. He'll have to putt his way through the holly trees here. And I threw the same retro Keystone on that straight to slight turnover shot. Brings us to hole 6, 240 feet back across the pond and down the hallway there. My shot went a little bit wide. Scott's throwing a flick shot, I believe, with the Prime EMAC Truth again. The Prime EMAC Truths are nice and flat and stable, so they're pretty good to forehand. Here's Rick's shot across the pond, safe. Scott hit a tree and kicked right here where he has a little forehand window to throw it up with his Sake Bomb Slammer. I'm taking a putt here from about pin deep, a little bit to the left, and I missed that bid. And now we just got to clean up our pars. That drainage ditch there is a casual OB. It's casual water, as it's not typically Doesn't typically have water in it. Hole number 7 here is 204 feet. And there is a mando on that tree there. You have to go to the right of the mando. It protects the house here. And we all get around the mando, but we all end up short left. Over here in the ground cover. Scott with a nice little bid.
Yeah.
Faded out a little bit early.
Yep.
And I threw the retro keystone there on that circle 2 putt. Hole number 8 is 229 feet. It is a slight right hand backhand turnover to straight. Scott did some trimming there, as you see. Dad throwing his Opto Diamond. I'm right here in the left side, throwing out with a hybrid anvil. And I landed in circle 2, deep in circle 2, and wasn't able to salvage the par there, unfortunately taking a bogey. Scott here from circle 2.
Oh, nice.
And sticking it home. So I take the unfortunate bogey there. Scott takes the box. Hole 9 is our back 9 pond shot, currently dried up. There's a rope around it. It's 182 feet. It's kind of a little putter shot. I did mention that the course is a deuce or die layout. Obviously, there's a lot of technical shots, a lot of left to rights, rights to lefts, and straight shots. Giving it a bid there, couldn't quite make it. And circle 2 putting is my goal for this year, to get better at circle 2 putting. Scott here from just inside the circle, I think. And hits the top. Lackluster 182-foot hole. Hole 10 here is a pie hole at 314 feet. Scott's throwing a forehand with a Lucid Moonshine Trespass. It's a light one. He has a lot of success flicking that. I'm throwing one of my pink Mavericks here, and early release. And I throw the Opto Fuse on my scramble shot and actually land it under the pin. That was a look back down the hole. Scott has a shot here from circle 2. See if he gives it a bid. It was a nice line, a little bit low, and we're both parked for our pars. Hole 11 here is 272 feet. Scott's throwing that same trespass, I believe. Needed to get just a little bit straighter and could have got around there. I'm throwing the pink Maverick and got a little bit too much angle on it, or it would have been pinned. It's going to be early. It's going to give me a circle 2 putt. Scott got an unfortunate kick there with the slammer. Giving that a bid with my blue dagger. Scott trying to save his par. He had a tricky little shot around that tree, and unfortunately has to take the bogue. Hole 12 is 210 feet through this gap and across the creek. The creek here is Beaver Branch. That is the name of the course. That's where we got the name. Scott looking to get down the creek, and he lands safe on the right side of the creek right here with the in the circle putt. Unfortunately, it does not drop, and he'll have to clean up his par here. I threw a harp here because I was having a lot of trouble going deep on that hole, so I threw something that could get down. Hole 13 is 278 feet, and I really wanted to get my edge up more and get around the corner here. You can see where the basket is there. It's a right to left shot, a hyzer shot, if you will, right hand, backhand. And Scott takes the shortcut through the inside gap. Works a little body language. Mine straightened out and deep circle too, like 66 feet circle too. Gave it a bid, laid it up, move on with the par. Scott here from maybe just outside the circle and a little bit low. There's a look at our bullseyes. Hole 14 is 250 feet. It's a low ceiling shot. I threw an Opto Glimmer River there, and I got it over just a little bit. And I threw the Opto Glimmer River just because I can throw it, and it just stays just high enough and usually gets underneath this tree line, which is kind of a tricky shot. Scott pitching up here, hits a branch. We're both doing a little bit of work on this hole, trimming trees. Scott gets his disc up there by the basket. This is for my par save. I'm throwing the Keystone because it's got a bunch of glide, and I figure I might be able to get it in. And
Yeah.
Dad, Rick Moore, takes the box from us on that hole. He shoots a textbook par. 224 feet here. I took an Opto Fuse, and I was looking to just try to get it go straight, and I turned it over just a little bit. Scott here is throwing a VIP Stag on his flick shot, and he doesn't make the gap, so now he's throwing his, I believe, the EMAC Truth again, looking for a little hyzer skip shot, and he's in for his 3. This is circle 2 putt for a birdie here. And I was just a little bit high on the basket and missed that. Hole 16 is 331 feet, and I just threw a lucid trespass with some hyzer and snapped it perfectly straight. I'm about 9 feet from the basket. Scott here throwing one of his trespasses, doesn't quite get it turned to do the full flex shot. Lands in the right side. He's going to have to throw his Biofusion Felon on a hammer line here. Doesn't quite get it up high enough. Now he's deep in circle 2 to save par. And I believe he knocked that down with his circle 2/circle 3 putter, which is the pure. That was a look at where my shot landed. Hole 17 is 228 feet. I'm throwing an Opto Glimmer River on that short of a shot. Yes, I am. Because I know I can straighten it. Basically like throwing a mid-range at that length. Scott here is throwing a Retro Fuse with some hyzer, getting it to stand up and go straight, and has a nice line on that basket. Kind of a lackluster round for us, up and down. We both had some bogeys, we both had some birdies, we both had a few pars, but we end there with a star frame for us. Hole 18 is 330 feet. I was throwing my beat up Ballista Pro 168 gram, and it straightened on me and ended up pin deep but to the right. Scott here is throwing, I believe, a VIP Sorcerer with some hyzer, and he gets down to the corner where he's going to have a back edge of circle 2 upshot to give it a run. Never count Scott out for hitting some long putts. Here I am in circle 2 as well. but pin deep and airball it. But I don't have to putt again, so that's good. There's Rick on his bid, and our scores are coming up here. I shot a 49, Scott shot a 54, and there's our individual statistics. It was definitely a fun round with the family, and we got some improvements to do for our next round. Hope you guys enjoyed watching us play a round. I will try to do a better job on the next one. And we will see you all later. May the course be with you always.